Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're going to talk about the long game. And I don't mean, next quarter's results. I'm talking about this quiet, relentless dedication.
Step by tiny step.
Exactly. And we're looking at this amazing artifact today to really get it. It's a blog post from a site called keonmang.org.
And the post is titled Notes on Haskell Programming, Part 40, Writing Our First Test.
Part 40. That alone tells you something.
It really does. And this was published just recently, January 24th, 2026. On the surface, it's a technical tutorial.
Right, how to write a test in Haskell.
But if you look just a little closer at the source material, you realize this is about so much more than just code. It's about the mindset of a craftsman.
I want to start with how the author introduces himself, actually. He signs off as Ang, and he describes himself as an old software plumber.
I love that phrase.
Me too. Usually in tech, you hear rock star, ninja, wizard, but plumber. What does that say to you?
It sets the tone for everything. I mean, think about a plumber. They're not there to perform.
No.
They're there to make sure the infrastructure, the stuff you don't even see, just works. It implies utility, reliability.
Yeah, and a certain humility, maybe?
Yes, exactly. He's not saying, look at my genius. He's saying, look at how I fixed this leak.
And part 40 is a huge moment in that journey. Because writing code is one thing, but writing your first test.
That's when it gets real.
Yeah.
That's the moment you stop just tinkering and you start engineering. When you write a test, you're proving the pipes don't leak. You're creating a guarantee.
But before we get into the code itself, and we will, because it's actually really clever.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the context.
Oh, we have to.
I was looking at the sidebar of this blog, and it blew my mind. This isn't just a coding blog. This guy is a true Renaissance man.
It's an incredible archive of a curious mind. You see Notes on Haskell, Part 40, which is impressive enough on its own.
For sure.
But then you scroll down the sidebar, Notes on Gardening.
Wait for it.
Part 786.
786. That's years of documentation. And they're not just, I watered the plants. They're so specific. Part 786 is, should we explore mulberries?
Right. Or the air layering of the curry leaf plant. This is scientific observation.
And it doesn't stop. He has notes on fish keeping. We're at part 179 there.
With titles like The Unexpected Algae and Decoding Duckweed, he's tracking everything. Dieting, meditation, photography.
It paints this picture of someone who believes that if something is worth doing, it's worth documenting. And that meticulous nature, that feels like the perfect mindset for what we're talking about today.
Software testing.
Exactly.
It really is, because testing is about observation. It's about setting up a controlled environment, introducing a variable, and recording what happens.
Whether it's blackbeard algae in a fish tank or a command line argument.
The discipline is identical. It's the scientific method applied to daily life.
Okay, so let's apply that software plumber discipline. What's the actual mission in this specific post?
So the author, Ang, he's been building this command line app called XS2 ebook. He just finished some refactoring, cleaning up the code.
Yeah.
And now he needs to prove it actually works.
And the goal for this session is surprisingly simple, isn't it?
It is. The goal is to verify that when a user types help, the program spits out the help text.
That sounds almost too basic to test. I mean, if I ask for help, show me help, why bother? Can't he just, run it and see?
He could, but that's manual. Remember, he's a plumber. He wants to automate the inspection. Plus, the help text is like the front door of your app. If a user gets stuck right away because the help command crashes, they're just going to delete your tool. It's a critical failure point.
Okay, that's a good point. So let's unpack the toolbox. What's he using to make this happen?
He's working in Haskell. The testing framework is called Hspec.
Hspec.
Think of it as a tool that lets you write tests that read almost like English sentences. And the library he's actually testing is called upparseapplicative.
That's a mouthful.
It is. It just parses options. It takes what you type in, the terminal-like help, and turns it into instruction.
Got it. So before he even writes the test, there's some plumbing to do. He mentions editing a file. Packages.yaml. Wow.
That's his configuration file. You can't just use a new tool without telling the builder you need it. It's like a shopping list for your code.
Right. You can't fix the sink if you forgot to put the wrench in your toolbox.
Exactly. So if you look at the source, under the XS2 ebook test section, he adds his dependencies. He lists the app itself, XS2 ebook, then upparseapplicative, and Hspec. He's formally declaring his ingredients.
And once the toolbox is packed, we get to the actual code. The file is testspec.hs.
It's very clean. It starts with imports, test.hspec, options.applicative. But look at line 3.
Import xs2ebook.cli, arg parser info. Why is that part in parentheses important?
Because he's not importing the whole world. He's being very precise. He's dragging one specific component, that arg parser info function, into the lab. That's the specimen he's going to poke and prod.
Okay, specimens on the table. Then we get the main function. It says main equals hspec door.
And this is where Hspec really shines. It creates this domain-specific language. He starts a block with the word describe.
Describe CLI arguments.
And inside that, he writes it outputs help text when the help flag is used.
I love that. It's not just code. It's a full sentence. It tells you exactly what it's supposed to do.
It's called living documentation. The test code itself becomes the user manual.
So inside that block is where the magic happens. He defines his arguments. Let args he help. Simple enough. But then line 10, result, xx parser pure default prefs, arg parser info args.
That is the most critical line in the whole post.
The word pure is in there. We hear that a lot in functional programming. Why xx parser pure? Why not just run the parser?
This is the real aha moment. Imagine you're testing the emergency brakes on a train.
Okay.
You want to know they work, but you don't want to actually derail the train every time you check.
Right. That would be messy.
Well, normally, if a program sees the help flag, what does it do? It prints the help text, and then it exits. It shuts down.
Which would kill the test suite.
Exactly. If you ran the normal parser, your test would just stop. It wouldn't know what happened.
Yeah.
You want to inspect the result without stopping the world.
So xx parser pure is like a simulation.
It's like a flight simulator. It runs all the logic, but instead of actually printing to the screen or killing the process, it just captures the result in a little bubble. It hands you back a data structure that says, here's what I would have done.
That is so smart. Okay, so he's got the result in the bubble. Now he has to check inside. He uses a case statement and looks for a failure.
Yes.
Wait, hang on. We want a failure.
Yeah.
Seeing failure in a test log is usually a bad thing.
It's a little counterintuitive, but in the context of this library, asking for help is technically a parser failure.
How so?
Because you didn't give it a command to execute, you just asked for info. So the parser says, I can't proceed, so I'm failing, and the reason is the user asked for help.
Ah, I see. It's a controlled crash.
Exactly. So he catches that specific failure, and from that, he extracts the message. And then come the final assertions, the proof.
Help-MS should contain usage, XS2book, and help-MSX should contain show this help text.
That's the checkmate. He's proving that the text the user would see is correct.
And what if it didn't fail? What if the parser says success?
Look at line 18, expectation failure. The parser should have returned a help failure message.
So if the parser successfully runs, the test fails.
Right. Because if you type help, you don't want the app to actually run. That would be a bug.
That logic is a little twisty, but it makes perfect sense. Okay, so the trap is set. He types stack test. What happens?
Satisfaction. Beautiful, clean output. CLI arguments, outputs, help text when the help flag is used. Check mark.
And the best part, the metrics. Finished in 0.00005 seconds.
5/10,000ths of a second.
That is just incredible speed. And I think this is where we have to bring back the old software plumber and his gardening notes to really get the philosophical difference.
The contrast is vital.
Think about the feedback loop. In his gardening notes, he's writing about the transition of philodendrons. How long does that test take?
Days. Weeks. He has notes on an olive tree. You can't rush an olive tree. You make a change and you wait a season to see if it worked.
Exactly. Nature is slow. You plant, you wait, you hope. But here, with Haskell, he hits enter, and 0.00005 seconds later, he knows absolute truth.
That's the addictive quality of software, right? That instant gratification. But what's so fascinating about Ang is that he applies the same patience to both. He documents the 0.00005 second win with the same gravity. He documents the slow growth of a zebra cichlid in his fish tank.
That consistency is so striking. I mean, look at the blog's footer. He calls it the Journal of an Old Software Plumber Night-Long Tinkering.
With free Libre and open source software.
And there's a disclaimer that these are his own opinions, not his employer's. This is pure passion work.
It is. It's craftsmanship for its own sake.
And that reframes this whole post for me. It's not just how to use Hspec, it's how to make progress. You break a big problem down into one tiny function, write one test, get the green check mark, then you do the next one.
Incrementalism. It works for gardens and it works for software. You build a robust application by laying one brick, verifying its level, that's your test, and then laying the next one. This post, part 40, is just one solid brick.
And it fits into this massive wall of 786 gardening notes. It's actually kind of inspiring. It makes this Renaissance man idea feel accessible. He wasn't born a genius. He's just a guy who takes notes on everything.
Precisely. You stop looking for shortcuts. You start appreciating that writing the test is the work. It's not a chore you do after. It's part of the understanding.
So if we look at the result of this deep dive, we started with a blog post about a Haskell test.
And we ended up with a philosophy of life.
I think so. The technical takeaway is clear. To test a CLI in Haskell, you isolate the parser with exec parser pure so you don't exit the process.
Right, then you catch the failure, which is really the help text, and you check the string. That's the how.
But the why is about confidence. It's knowing that when you ship this and someone types help, it just works 100% of the time.
It's about the record. In 5 years, when Ang looks back, just like he looks back at his gardening notes from years ago, he can see exactly how the system evolved. He isn't relying on memory.
Which brings us back to the human element. This is part 40 of his Haskell journey. He's clearly been at this for a while, but he's still documenting writing our first test. There's no ego, just here is what I learned today.
And that's the best way to learn, publicly, consistently. He's not waiting for the project to be finished to show it off. He shows the process.
It makes me want to start documenting my own tinkering, maybe not fish keeping. I killed my last goldfish.
Maybe stick to notes on podcasting.
Fair enough. But here's a thought for you listening. We often feel overwhelmed by how much there is to learn. It feels like a mountain.
But Ang shows us it's just a series of notes.
Exactly. So here's the question to leave you with. If you treated your own learning, whatever it is you're chasing, with the same meticulous, part-by-part documentation as Ang treats his garden, where would you be in 40 weeks?
If you just wrote down one lesson every week, part 1, how to write a loop, part 40, how to write a test.
It adds up. You look back and you have a library of your own knowledge.
And you have that 0.00005 second satisfaction of knowing you're moving forward.
That's it for our deep dive into the musings of the old software plumber. We hope this inspires you to go write your first test, or maybe just write down what you learned today.
Keep tinkering.
See you in the next deep dive.